Once, a group of monks was walking back to their monastery after collecting alms. On the way, they noticed smoke rising in the distance. Curious, they walked toward it and saw a large fire burning in an open field. As they stood watching, a crow flew into the sky. It circled above the fire, making loud cries. Suddenly, it dived straight into the flames and died. The monks were shocked. They couldn't understand why the crow would choose such a painful end. They decided to ask the Buddha about this when they reached the monastery. In another place, another group of monks was traveling across the sea in a small boat. The weather was calm, and the journey was smooth at first. But as they reached the middle of the ocean, the boat came to a sudden halt. The sailors rowed harder, but the boat refused to move. No one could understand what was wrong. The passengers, scared and confused, believed there must be someone bringing bad luck on board. They decided to draw lots to find the unlucky person. To everyone's shock, the name of the boatman's wife came up every time. The passengers began to pressure the boatman, saying, "She must be removed, or we will all perish." The boatman, heartbroken, had no choice. He tied a heavy sack of sand around his wife's neck and pushed her into the sea. She drowned, and the boat began moving again. The monks in the boat were horrified and wanted to know why such a terrible thing had happened. They too decided to ask the Buddha. In yet another part of the land, a third group of monks was traveling through a forest. As night fell, they found a large cave to rest in. They went inside and slept peacefully. In the morning, they discovered that a huge rock had fallen at the entrance of the cave. They were trapped. For 7 long days, they had no food or water. Finally, on the 7th day, villagers passing by heard their cries and removed the rock. The monks were freed, but they couldn't understand why they had to suffer like this. They also decided to ask the Buddha. When all 3 groups of monks gathered before the Buddha, they shared their stories and asked for answers. The first group asked about the crow that flew into the fire. The Buddha explained, "In a past life, that crow was a farmer. He had a bull that was lazy and refused to work. One day, in a fit of rage, the farmer set fire to a pile of straw and burned the bull alive. That cruel act created karma that followed him into this life, where he was reborn as a crow. The painful death in the fire was the result of his own actions." The second group of monks told the story of the boatman's wife. The Buddha said, "In her past life, this woman was often followed by a stray dog. Wherever she went, the dog followed. The boys in her village made fun of her because of the dog. Angry and ashamed, she decided to get rid of it. She tied a heavy stone around its neck and threw it into the river. The dog drowned. That cruel act created karma that followed her into this life. The dog from her past life was reborn as her husband, and the karma of her actions caused her to meet the same fate." The third group of monks shared how they were trapped in the cave for 7 days. The Buddha explained, "In a past life, you were cowherd boys. One day while playing, you found a lizard hiding in a hole. As a prank, you sealed the hole with a rock. You forgot about the lizard and only returned 7 days later to release it. The lizard was barely alive. That careless act created karma that followed you into this life, where you experienced the same suffering of being trapped." Hearing these explanations, the monks were deeply moved. They reflected on how every action, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, creates consequences that we must face, either in this life or the next. The monks then asked the Buddha, "Is there any way a person can escape the consequences of their actions?" The Buddha replied, "No. There is no place in this world or beyond it where you can escape your karma. Karma follows you like your shadow. Just as no one can escape death, no one can escape the results of their actions. If you do good, good will return to you. If you do bad, bad will come back to you. This is the law of karma." The monks bowed before the Buddha, humbled by the profound truth of his teachings. They left with a renewed determination to live with kindness, compassion, and mindfulness. So my friends, every action, whether big or small, leaves a mark on our lives. What we do today shapes our tomorrow. So choose kindness, compassion, and honesty. Karma will always find you. So make sure it finds you doing good. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like the video and share it with someone who needs to hear this. Also subscribe to our channel for more motivational stories like this. Together, let's learn more lessons that can bring light into our lives. Remember, life is like a mirror. It reflects what we give. So always plant the seeds of love, kindness, and compassion. I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.